This is Not Worth Living, a podcast that features creatives interviewing themselves with a preset list of questions. Unlike other podcasts that feel like conversation between friends, this one aims to feel like eavesdropping on a psychiatrist's visit. Today's episode features...
Hi, this is Matthew Kinlin, a writer from Glasgow, and for the next few minutes I'm going to be talking to myself, so it's just going to be like any other regular day, really. So let's jump in. The first question, what makes you tick? And in the words of John Waters, the master himself, life is nothing if you're not obsessed. Would you open an envelope with your death date? Yes, absolutely. To make sure I'm wearing a full-length Valentino gown, as I step out in front of that miserable bus. What was the first time you remember creating something intentionally? So yeah, as young children, me and my brother and my sister would cut up old Weetabix boxes. And Weetabix is a very famous cereal in the United Kingdom, if you didn't know that. And then we put a sheet of greaseproof paper over the kind of square hole. And then all evening, we would perform shadow puppet shows for my grandma. And sometimes we would do these little magic shows with magic rings, or you'd make something vanish into thin air. So creatively, not a lot has changed, really. What keeps you motivated? An empty room, nighttime, celebrity deaths, a secret, greed, jealousy, jewels. I think Natasha Kinski once put it as, not that I want everything right now, but I do want everything. Who inspires you at the moment? Filmmakers such as Jess Franco, Jean Rollin, Fassbinder, visual art, the sigil work of Elijah Berger, the photography of Neil Davies, music to dream to, like Pink Courtesy Phone, or Jake Muir. Conversations with creative folk like Tom Over and Jesse Hilson, writers that are figuring out for themselves, really. And also artists and writers I've collaborated with in the past. Kenneth M. Cale, Callum Leckie, Misha Hontarenko. There are a lot of North Stars out there for me, and they're all publishing on independent presses. Derek McCormack, William E. Jones, Nate Lippens, writers that are following their own path, really. David Kinlin, Charlene Ellsby, Elle Nash, Thomas Moore. What's your latest project? So it's a novel called So Tender a Killer, and it's a thriller, and inspired by fiction such as Muriel Spark's The Driver's Seat, and the subsequent Elizabeth Taylor film, as well as other female writers such as Anna Kavan and Anne Quinn, specifically her book Berg. And the novel is about a fashion model that leaves her husband and children to murder an ex-lover who is a female photographer before she gets a flight from London to Las Vegas, where she is hiding out. If money was no object, what would be your dream project? So I would film a version of Samuel R. Delaney's Hog along all the disgusting motorways of North England. Is there a quote or a motto that you work by? Jean Cocteau says, run faster than beauty. But maybe Marky Smith, who says, if you're going to play it out of tune, then play it out of tune properly. Would you be friends with yourself? I'd probably say I already am. Writing is quite a solitary act, but in the words of Candy Darling, I'm 1,000 different people, everyone is real. What do you do differently from other people? Nothing, just another phantom, really. What would you like your epitaph to say? Just put my grave near a decent cruising ground, and stick on some Emily Dickinson for the old passing queens to enjoy. and I can think of two suggestions. The first one, there is another sky, ever serene and fair, and there is another sunshine, though it be darkness there. Or maybe this one, which is just two lines, and I'll finish with, even for death, a fairy medicine, but which is it, sir,